What the hell is learning and development? What a minefield. For every time I get asked this, I have to say, well, learning and development is not only training, it's not only building courses, it's not only facilitation. So I thought, let me let you know exactly what learning and development is. Learning and development, L&D, is a continuous process that helps employees improve their knowledge, skills, and abilities. It's a core HR function and a key part of an organization's people development strategy. L&D involves analyzing skills gaps, designing training programs. Ugh. That makes us sound so boring. Maybe too many to count. Years of experience in learning and development in both organizations and as a consultant, I have put together my 7 buckets of what learning and development is involved in. So the first one is really about creating a learning culture. What does that mean? So to me, it means, is the organization equipped to keep learning? And I actually have renamed it for myself. I call it an enablement mindset. So what that means is, do leaders enable their people to do their best work? And this includes things like, do you have the resources? Do you have the right team structure? And then do you have the right capabilities on the team to be kick-ass at your job and for career pathing? So are you looking at what's the next move? How do I help my people get there? What is their journey from A to Z to that promotion? And that is what I love to call an enablement mindset. The second of the bucket is what I like to call the strategic destination. And this is where learning and development help meet business goals. Otherwise, what are we doing? So if you do not understand where the business is going, if you do not know what the strategic priorities are, and if you do not know what the skills are that the people need to help the organization get to where they are going, then we are not going to be aligned with the business. And that is where, can I say it? That is where they don't see our value. And I know we bring a lot of value. So this is so crucial. So here's what you do. You look at the macro environment, say, okay, in this industry, this is where our competitors are going. This is where, parallel industries are going. And this is how I see us getting there. This is the type of leadership we need to embrace. This is the type of sales capability we need, and all of those things. And then we can start to actually measure and show our impact to the business. Third is one of my favorites. So it's the capability house. And if you just step back and picture an actual house. So what are the foundational skills that everyone needs? And this will include things like, what's our culture here? How do we live that? What are our values? How do we manage performance and all of that stuff? So all of that goes into the foundational part of the house. Then we have the pillars, right? So the pillars are what are the finance skills we need? What are the sales skills we need? What are the HR skills we need? And what are the technical skills we need? And the technical will get broken down into your lines of business and whatnot. And each of those pillars then hold up the ceiling to the house. And the ceiling to the house is your leadership. So the leadership is ultimately, what are the leadership capabilities needed in this business so that we don't get rained on? The next bucket is the technology ecosystem. And here, maybe you have something in place, maybe you don't, but you need to understand how technology is really, it's the key to opening the door to really enable the capability to go through, right? Because technology can enable us to get the skills and knowledge and basically your content to your people. And you have to be very aware of your organization. So sometimes some flashy tech is great, but sometimes your people are working on a road or they're frontline with patients, and then, giving them an app to stare at to do some content is not going to be your best bet. And so the technology ecosystem is really being deliberate about what your people need and how you can build up that ecosystem to support them in accessing the great stuff that you make for them. Now is probably the thing that brings it all together. It's the talent development ways of working. And this involves everything. So I have put everything I know about how to lead a successful learning and development project, and I came up with a framework, and it's called the IEIO framework. And this takes you from the I, the first I, which is investigate, and that links to what are the strategic goals, what are the current skills we have, what are the skills we need, looking at what content we currently have, and all of that stuff that happens in the investigate stage. The second stage is engineer, and this is where we put together the solution. So what does it look like? It's not necessarily just building a course, but it is finding all the resources, curating, creating, making things available for people. The second I is implement. So this is including a campaign plan. How do we get our training out to people? How do we position the what's in it for me? And how do we get it to them? So what is the technology? Like, how are we going to get it to our people? And then the next is optimize. So I always say, I don't think I've rolled out the same training program twice, because I will continue to use feedback from the customers and really to just continuously change and optimize this. This ways of working also includes thread throughout of performance consulting. So it is working with the business throughout this whole process and really getting learning to them in the way that they need it and that they want it. Next is crafting your learning solutions. So I used to call this my content strategy, but really I wanted to broaden that and broaden the mindset of what are the learning solutions that we are bringing to our people? Sometimes that can just be a checklist. Sometimes that can just be a poster printed on a notice board. Sometimes it's an in-depth gamification, like 3D, learning program that happens in person and online and all the things. So it can really be any of that, but you want to follow some guiding principles. There are 8, but I'll list a few here for you. So the guiding principles is, what does good content look like in this organization? What do good experiences look like in this organization? How do my people access the learning? And so on and so forth. Now I am talking to the learning and development team and what skills you need. So yes, I know a lot of people are teams of one. And so what are the skills you need to be effective at your job? You cannot be a generalist in learning and development if you're supporting, 10,000 plus people. So really, what are the key things that you need to focus on to really bring your A game to the organization? My recommendation would be ways of working. So it includes the performance consulting, and that's really when you're going to get to understand your business and then lead a successful project from start to finish. If you're lucky enough to have more than one person on the team, what are the skills you need to know and understand to be an effective team? So besides from the very boring definition that we could use for learning and development, we are absolutely a strategic function that has a huge impact on the success of the company. So the better you are equipped to do the role, the better your skills the more impact you will have. So please reach out if you want to know anything more about what learning and development is. Please add your comments below and subscribe as many talent development professionals move from that overlooked order taker to that value added business partner where we can increase our impact and our influence on people's development and ultimately the organization's success. Okay, go on, be awesome.